And Darren Elkins always puts on a show, so that's one that's worth turning in for.
So, next, going the distance even further, we've got the heavyweight bout between Allistar Overeem and Mark Hunt.
I do miss the Overeem, but
how badass a name is Overeem, though?
It
sounds
he's
like
a strange guy, man. I think he lived in England. He's from the Netherlands. He was one of Bas Rutten's original students.
Yeah, he's a Dutch kickboxer. Those guys are no joke, you know?
He fought Badr Hari over in I want to say it was K1 at the time is where he fought Badr Hari. Have you ever heard Overeem talk?
Very little. He doesn't do much talking.
I just want to say I'm going to fight Mr. Hunt, and it will be splendid. He's such a soft-spoken anomaly of a guy.
And then liver kicks Brock Lesnar. Badoosh. Bang.
Yeah, when he fought Junior Dos Santos recently, we saw a much more patient Overeem, a guy who kept his hands up, didn't quite get as arrogant in the ring, didn't drop his hands. And Overeem's the kind of guy, I'm actually quoting Bas Rutten right now, there are certain guys who can let their hands go with combinations because they have a strong chin. Overeem has proved that he might not have the most durable chin in MMA anymore.
So he just needs to be like a 1-2, get out, move.
He's been a guy, get in, get off, get out. He can fight effectively from range, probably throws the quickest leg kicks in the heavyweight division. And he's a guy that's an expert at range. And he's also won a ton of fights via submission, which people don't seem to understand.
Yeah, Overeem has not looked too good as far as the people he's fought. But, I mean, you look at who he's fought, you look at who he's lost to, he doesn't have the strongest chin in the game. But that doesn't mean that he's not a beast in the ring.
Well, let's just take it the last couple of fights. He obviously lost to Stipe for the strap. He beat Andrei Arlovski handedly. He starched Junior Dos Santos with, I think it was one punch and then a kick. Roy Nelson,
went the distance.
Roy Nelson's an animal. Travis Brown, he was dominating Travis Brown. Travis Brown just kept flashing that. It was an up kick to the face and kept throwing it, and then finally caught him, shook him. Same thing with Antonio Silva. Allistar Overeem was winning that fight handedly. I think it was that the third round that he won it in? Second round. End of the second round. 25 seconds left. He was winning that, and Antonio Silva just kept on being the aggressor. And Overeem has a tendency to take his foot off the gas pedal.
Brought to you by Gas Pedal.
And try to be a little bit too much of an entertainer and not quite as much of a fighter. And the discipline that I've seen him show, especially against Junior Dos Santos and Roy Nelson, Andrei Arlovski, leads me to believe that against a guy like Mark Hunt, who is just, Overeem's had a tough time against guys that are durable and guys who push the pace. Mark Hunt is durable, and he's got a right hand that could put down a mule. Look for this to either be... Mark Hunt did get badly beat by Stipe Miocic. Do you remember that?
I did not.
Yeah, he that was, if you bring up the images for the fans later on, Mark Hunt was beat up pretty bad. And it just went to show the type of chin and the type of heart that Mark Hunt had. Mark Hunt's one of those guys who's just born in the wrong century. He should have been, someone pillaging villages on a Viking ship and taking what he wants.
Decapitating opponents in the Roman arena.
Yeah, and this is a perfect example of that athlete versus fighter. Everything on paper says that Allistar Overeem should handedly win this fight. You can't count Mark Hunt out. Father Time is eventually going to make his presence known. I'm going to pull up Mark Hunt. I'm going to guess he's 42. How old is he? 23 March 74. 42 years old.
Gives me hope.
Jerry's 30. He's got a fight coming up too, so check out Jerry Kellen. My prediction for this fight is that Overeem has kind of found a little bit of humility this late in the stage of his career. He's going to fight from range. Mark Hunt can't be taller than 4'11", if I'm not mistaken. So look for Overeem to win. I'm going to say look for Overeem to win by stoppage. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he's pretty embarrassed over what happened against Stipe. I'm rooting. My heart's going for Mark Hunt, so if you see this, please don't kill me, Mr. Hunt. I just think that at 42 and how much he's given to the sport, Mark Hunt was one of those guys where when he was brought over, I think it was Pride. He had a contract under Pride, and the UCF, that's we're in Orlando, Florida, University of Central Florida. The UFC wanted to buy out his contract. And Mark Hunt said, no, I want to fight. And he was choked out by Ollie Thompson.
Look that up.
I do want to look that up really quick. And then he went on a tear where he just started spamming overhand rights. Sean McCorkle, thank you. Wow, he lost to Gegard Mousasi, who's fighting at middleweight in Dream. Oh, and he lost Melvin Manhoof. You know who that is?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
World-class kickboxer. Guy's an animal.
Ooh.
So his last couple of fights, no contest to Brock Lesnar. I didn't like how they did Mark there. They used the USADA one-time exemption to put together a last-minute fight. all evidence, and I'm not an expert, I don't work for the UFC, seems to think that they knew that Brock Lesnar was taking some stuff, and they put him in there anyway against that guy. We love Mark Hunt. Mark Hunt, if this is your last fight, your swan song, I hope you win your lawsuit against the UFC. And I want to thank you for the memories that you've given us. And if I have my way, you'll win this fight and you'll go on another title run. But I'm going with Allistar Overeem, the Ubereem. Which brings us up to the co-main event, which could headline any card.
Lightweight Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Tony Ferguson.
El Kukui, and it's Nurmagomedov.
Nurmagomedov. I said
Yeah.
Nurmagomedov. Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Tony Ferguson.
Khabib. You see Joey Diaz?
Khabib?
He's like, they gotta give this fucking fight to Khabib.
You gotta get Khabib. It's Khabib.
Khabib.
Hey, that's good. We're picking up good here. See, let's do with some bass in the voice
If
there.
you guys ever get a chance to watch a fight companion with Joey Diaz, if he's the one guy in the world that I would want to watch a fight in a bar with, because he lets spit fly, has the best stories in the world. We love Joey Diaz. He's an American icon. Coco, if you see this, thank you for doing what you do.
You're amazing. Yo, so I gotta say this. I do not get updates from people, Ray, on Twitter, but I do request that Twitter update me every time Khabib sends an update, and I'm seeing his updates, man. Every time he sends a tweet, I get an update and I see it. What's he doing? He's running on mountains with his team. He's training at AKA. He's wrestling bears. He's wrestling exotic animals that haven't been discovered yet. The thing with Khabib is that he is an absolute is an athlete and a warrior. I have never. It kind of was new to me.
Might be the most dominant grappler at 155 that we've seen in the modern UFC.
You don't really get scared for other people's opponents, but I fear for Tony Ferguson's joints and skeletal structure in this fight.
I tell you what, man. Khabib Nurmagomedov, who injuries kind of kept him on the sidelines for the majority of the last 2.5 years.
Did they?
Yeah, they have. His last fight was against Dennis the Menace Johnson, or Michael Johnson. Michael the Menace Johnson. And Johnson proved that, Khabib striking at that top 5 level is not there. He touched him, he stunned him, he phased him. And Kukui, Tony Ferguson, who is a bad motherfucker. Tony Ferguson can crack at 155. And he throws punches and bunches. He's going to be the aggressor. He's not going to be intimidated by Khabib. And Tony, if I'm not mistaken, wrestled in college out in California. I know that he trains with Eddie Bravo out at 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. A guy like that, he's long-limbed. He has a pretty dangerous guard. And this is going to be a barn burner, and I don't see how the winner of this doesn't get a crack at Conor McGregor. And Khabib's done a little bit of a better job marketing himself, but I think that Tony Ferguson is a guy who, if more of the casual fans got to know him, he's someone people could easily get behind. He's slick-looking, he punches hard, he's tough, he's aggressive.
High fight IQ.
Very high fight IQ. I don't even know if I can make a prediction in this one. If you go back to when Khabib fought Rafael dos Anjos, he ragdolled a world-class Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt from Brazil. Khabib, yeah.
Khabib did. He fought
Ragdolled him.
But that's what Tony Ferguson did to... That is not what Tony Ferguson did. Tony Ferguson ended up going the length with
Dos Anjos. Right, and Dos Anjos is a world-class kickboxer, too. His striking came up... Does he train with Rafael Cordero? I think it's Cordero that he trains with. I could be wrong if I'm mistaken. Please forgive me. Don't beat me up in the comments section if anybody watches this.
Don't troll.
Ooh, I'm gonna go with. You know what? We just had the elections. I have a little bit of American pride. I'm gonna go with Tony Ferguson.
You going with Tony Ferguson?
Going with Tony Ferguson. I'm gonna go against the grain.
You going with Tony Ferguson? I just think I gotta say, Ray. I think Khabib just is. This is a tough one. I'm gonna go with Khabib. So this is where we're going to go separately. I'm going to go with Khabib. We can go
separate ways. I'm going to pull up Khabib. I'm going to say he's 29 or 30.
While you're pulling that up,
he's 28.
Did you see the Ferguson RDA fight?
I did.
Yeah, I saw it. We were watching it, and I was impressed at how Tony kept his focus the entire time. He picked his shots. He did not allow RDA to overpower him or get the better of him. He clearly went in there saying, "This is my fight." He seems like somebody who definitely imposes his will on his opponents. And what a high-class striker is Tony Ferguson.
He does, and when you have that grappling-heavy style, we know that everyone out at AKA, Luke Rockhold's out with injury right now. Cain Velasquez, I feel like we've been robbed of one of the best heavyweights of all time. The last 3 years, I think he's fought 2 or 3 times. when you train that iron sharpens iron or steel sharpens steel mentality, the constant injuries on the joints, I think that at a certain age, and he's 28, he's going to be 29 before the end of the summer. If that takes a toll and makes you even a moderately less effective grappler, I don't like that holding up over time. You know, look at the guys who fight well over time. It's a Michael Bisping. It's a Nick Diaz. Name one dominant collegiate wrestler, not Randy Couture, who did a lot of his stuff from collar ties and Greco-Roman style wrestling. Name one guy who shoots and is a grappling heavy animal that succeeds late in life.
Not Cormier.
Cormier didn't even get into MMA until he was about 30 years old. What does he have, 13 fights?
Yeah.
So that's the mileage on the car. That argument doesn't really hold up.
There you go then. That's why we got you here. Who's so